Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Rahul Bhatia, SAP S/4HANA Cloud Solution Architect. Today we bring you a very interesting topic which is around cloud transformation programs. How we can build a cloud agile, scalable, and a compliant cloud solution for enterprises that are intending to move towards the cloud platform. I also have the pleasure to have my fellow colleague from the industry who has also got tremendous experience in the cloud technology, and I let them now introduce themselves. Srinivas, over to you.
Hi, thank you, Rahul. Myself, Srinivas Sandiri. I am Salesforce Enterprise Architect with over 20 years of experience in IT, handling regulated industries in implementing the cloud solutions and scalable AI and providing the best architecture in the tools for the large number of customers. Thank you, Rahul. It's for you. Back to you.
Thank you, Sri, for the introduction. So, guys, what we have done today is we have prepared a small presentation, Srinivas and myself, where we will focus on the key concepts of cloud transformation programs, how we can build a successful cloud, agile, compliant, and a scalable solution for the enterprise transformation programs. So, I'll share my screen and we will present the presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, today's topic is about cloud native finance, how we can balance a scalable, compliant, and agility driven solution. Now, as we all know that cloud is a new tool or is a new functionality that is being offered to the enterprise solution. We are building a solution that is basically cloud driven now. All the financial institutions and any organization that is looking for a scalable and compliant solution, they are moving towards cloud as a next solution. So today we will focus on what are the key concepts around cloud technology and how we can build the compliant and agility driven solution for the businesses. The session agenda is divided into five key topics. The first agenda will focus on the cloud imperative, why financial institutions are accelerating towards the cloud transformation, and what are the key drivers for change that are moving them towards the cloud platform. We will also focus on the architectural foundations, what are the native principles, and what are the various frameworks that are enable organizations to build a scalable and a resilient environment. We will also talk about compliant driven frameworks, how regulatory requirements in cloud can be managed for these organizations. Then we will focus on DevSecOps model, which is basically about building integration of security and operations of enhanced agility as well. And then some case studies. We have done some case studies and how these case studies are implemented in the practical world within the organizations involving cloud transformation programs. So we will now deep dive into the agenda one, which is about the evolving financial technology landscape. As we all know, the financial landscape is changing tremendously from the last decade with the use of AI and ML models. It is very imperative that the financial institutions are facing tremendous challenges in today's digital economy. There are risks that are basically arising with the move to cloud as well, but we will focus on these when it comes to challenges in the digital economy. So the first challenge that we see is basically increasing transaction volumes. As we all know, organizations are now using the SAP platform to move their transactional data towards the cloud, and which requires elastic scalability. There should be flexibility for organizations to have real-time visibility when it comes to moving to cloud platforms. There is also regulatory pressure from organizations and government bodies to build a solution that is basically regulated and monitored. There is also comparative threats from fintech disruptors and digital banks. So imagine if a transaction fails tomorrow when you are doing an online banking transaction, how do we basically make sure that the transaction has reached its destination? So there are definitely threats when it comes to moving to cloud, and how we will mitigate these. We will focus on that today. There is also customer expectations in terms of real-time services. Customers are now expecting real-time visibility in terms of their transactional data moving across from one platform to another platform. There is also demand for cost optimization and operational efficiency. Of course, any organization looking to move towards the cloud is seeking the cost optimization as one of the important factors, and how operational efficiency can be derived from it. Of course, when it comes to different models for cloud, there are traditional cost models that cannot address these problems, as we know. But with the move to cloud, industries and organizations are transforming their landscape definitely. So we will basically evolve the financial technology landscape definitely with the move to cloud, and how these errors or these challenges can be overcome in the digital economy. In the next slide, we will now focus on the cloud imperative, how cost can be saved. Now, again, as we said, there are basically elastic scalability. So when we are talking about cloud solution, we need to ensure that we are building a cloud-driven elastic solution. What does that mean? That means basically any event that basically handles any market volatility. For example, if any changes in the market does happen, how can we ensure that our data is static and it does not change? So again, there are factors that are driven from the market. There are events that happen which are not in control of organizations. Hence, it is important or imperative that we build a solution that is very elastic and can manage real-time insights from the market. And moving to cloud allows organizations to basically get real-time insights by getting their data from the market itself. So again, there is elastic scalability when it comes to cloud solution. There is innovation velocity. Yes, with the reduced time to market from months to days through automated solutions such as using AI and ML models, organizations are innovating and moving towards cloud. With the cloud move, they are able to basically get embedded analytics and real-time visibility on their solution as well. So that's really helping organizations when it comes to moving to cloud, and they can innovate so much that they are not constrained to using one single landscape. They can basically integrate with multiple technologies and AI embedded tools as well. When it comes to resilience, there is operational resilience that we have found out. We need to build systems that maintain 99.9% availability through distributed architectures and automated recovery. So building or moving towards a cloud solution allows organizations to do better recovery. And of course, it reduces the time of error resolution as well. So again, there is operational resilience as well when it moving to cost savings. Global reach, yes, we are able to deploy solutions that are closer to customers with edge computing capabilities that basically reduce the latency by up to 60%. So when it comes to moving to cloud solutions, it can be accessed by anybody, anywhere around the world on any device. So anybody who's basically working on cloud platform or cloud technologies is able to access the solution on the cloud with one single click. So these are some factors that we have found out beyond cost savings that are helping organizations move towards the cloud application. Sorry. When it comes to the cloud adoption journey, there are factors that are basically moving into the cloud adoption journey as well. Now, when it comes to an organization moving from the cloud journey, they are looking at their legacy systems. What are those applications that require move to the cloud? Will their data centers move towards the cloud as well? And how will they operate? So definitely the cloud journey does involve basically monitoring of legacy systems. It involves hybrid transition as well. So again, an organization looking to migrate towards the cloud should not basically directly move to the cloud. Rather, they should move in a hybrid transition as well. Again, there are cloud-enabled platforms and cloud-enabled migration technologies that help organization moves in a phase-by-phase approach rather than in one single go as well. From a cloud native perspective, microservices architecture and full dev spec op integration will allow organizations to move the data into cloud driven architecture model very easily as well. So again, when it comes to financial organizations looking or adapting the cloud journey, they are able to move in a better hybrid manner and also adapt the cloud migration in different stages as well. So we have taken this scenario in any organization that is looking to move to the cloud. They are able to move to the cloud in a step-by-step approach rather than in one single go as well. So go to the next slide. So the next part that we will focus on basically is the architectural foundations. What are the key cloud native architectural foundations that matter today more than technology? So again, we will deep dive a little bit into these foundations. When it comes to the cloud native architectural principles, we have found out that there are microservices decomposition. What does that mean? Breaking monoliths into service boundaries based on business domains. For example, you can have separate services for payment processing or invoice processing or risk assessment or customer onboarding. So there are tools that are cloud enabled that allows different processes to be taken care of with the move to cloud. You do not need to move all your processes to the cloud. You can actually do them step by step in phase-based approach. There is API first design. Yes, standardized interfaces are now thing of the past. We have APIs in place that allow decoupled systems and enable compositional services through well-defined contracts. So meaning organizations can now speak with multiple integrations on multiple third-party systems through API-driven approach. They are able to fetch the data without building a costly integration or interface. Then there is event-driven patterns. What does event-driven pattern means? Well, as we said, moving to cloud allows organizations to connect to real-time data. It allows data to be flown into the cloud platform in real time, meaning organizations have real-time visibility of what is happening in the outer world, or basically how markets are getting their real-time insights. The organizations can benefit with real-time visibility of this data. So moving to cloud definitely has some advantages such as event-driven patterns as well. And then infrastructure as a code. Again, when it comes to infrastructure building, automated provisioning through declarative templates is very consistent for us. So moving to cloud allows organizations to use predefined templates, meaning they do not need to reinvent the wheel and define their processes. Rather, they can basically use a standardized template and can be rolled out across the complete landscape as well. So these architectural patterns really create the systems that are much more resilient and adaptable, and of course easy and less costly to maintain as well. So there is definitely a benefit for organizations adapting the cloud native architectural principles. Go to the next slide. Then we also found out some of the approaches that can be used by organizations. So organizations have multiple flexibilities when it comes to hosting or moving or choosing the right path for them. So what are those options? They are basically they can rehost. So moving existing applications to cloud with required minimal changes. So again, organizations which have multiple ERP landscapes or non-ERP landscapes, they can move to the cloud without any expensive solutions being deployed. It will allow them to have quick migration timeframes. They will limit the benefit, basically the initial benefit, meaning that they will realize the benefits in multiple phases rather than moving all their operations to the cloud. They also basically have less technical constraint as well. So when it comes to rehosting, organizations can move multiple applications to the cloud without much expenses as well. There is refactor path as well. This allows basically to incrementally modernize the existing applications. What does that mean? Well, it is a balance-based approach. You can actually upgrade your existing applications and move to the cloud, meaning you can actually reach out to the existing application or the third-party vendor and ask them to provide you a cloud native application. So you can actually refactor existing applications and modernize the existing solution, or you have the option to basically completely rehost your existing applications to the cloud. So definitely there is progressive improvement here. And of course, it follows the timeline, meaning that you have to rely on the existing application or the third-party vendor who's providing you that application on their approach towards the cloud. So there is a refactor approach available for businesses moving towards the cloud as well. When it comes to rebuilding, again, organizations do have the flexibility to completely re-architect their existing applications or landscape, meaning they can host all their applications or existing processes into cloud completely from scratch. So that is the maximum benefit organizations can get, but then it will impact their timeline. So there are pros and cons moving to cloud, but then organizations do have the flexibility to host completely their end-to-end architecture or landscape or applications toward the cloud as well. Of course, this option or this strategy means organizations have to rebuild everything from scratch, which means there is higher cost of initial investment involved here. So these are some of the approaches organizations can adapt when it comes to moving to cloud platform as well. Then there is a data challenge. Yes, as we all know, data plays the key part in any transformation program. It is beyond migration also. So again, you have to understand that the data processing involves some sort of, technical constraints as well, but also financial constraints as well for organizations moving to the cloud. So again, application migration is only half of the battle, where you have technically decided to move to the cloud. But how will you move your data to the cloud? That presents altogether different challenges. So again, there are some challenges that we have notified or we have witnessed across our multiple implementations of migration towards the cloud platform, and these are such as data gravity. Again, large volume of financial data sets require resisted movements. They require controls. There is a strategic approach to move this data towards the cloud, and again, it should be done very carefully. If it involves sensitive information, meaning there is personal information for the customers and the suppliers, then you make sure that there are constraints or there are frameworks that control this information when it moves to the cloud. There is also a regulatory constraint. Yes, organizations moving to the cloud now have to basically comply with regulatory constraints as well. There is data residency and sovereignty requirement that limits storage options. So there is a definitely case here that organization must now visit, such as data consistency across the cloud landscape. Storage options play a critical part because organizations are now required to store the data for at least minimum 3 years as per the GDPR Act as well, which is rolled out across multiple organizations within Europe. And of course, there are critical constraints that one must follow when it comes to deciding to move the applications to the cloud platform as well. Then it comes to legacy integration. Yes, connection to systems that cannot be migrated require hybrid architectures. So again, there are systems that are not going to speak to the cloud platform or the cloud solution at all in the first place. So there are different strategies that can be adapted by organizations, such as building hybrid architectures, meaning they will basically connect the application to a third-party system or a database where they will fetch the data and then move the data to a hybrid architecture in a hybrid manner as well. So again, there are pros and cons of this approach, but then organizations do have data challenges that we have seen when it comes to moving toward the cloud as well. Go to the next slide. Yeah, very important topic, which is around compliance. So again, meeting regulatory requirements without sacrificing agility. So organization must make sure that they are following the regulatory requirements as well, but also not compromising on agility. So when it comes to agility, we are looking at basically how organizations can basically report real-time data to the stakeholders. So we will now explore some of the regulatory landscape requirements in the financial cloud. So as per the GDPR Act, there are certain acts or outlines that that an organization must follow when it comes to the regulatory landscape for financial cloud. What are these? So again, there are, as per the PRA and FCA UK Act, the key focus is basically operational resilience, exit strategies, and concentration risk. So again, organizations, when deciding to move to the cloud, they must ensure that there is ownership, there is responsibility on the data when it comes to moving towards the cloud. Organizations must be held responsible for making sure the data is secure and compliant when it comes to moving to the cloud solutions. So there is a set of basically act that has been implemented, and organization must comply with this act when it comes to moving to the cloud solution. Then there is a European act called DORA, which is referred to as Digital Operational Resilience Act. What does this mean? This act basically focuses on testing and incident reporting and third-party oversight as well. So again, this act ensures or basically forces the organizations to ensure that their data is tested. There is incident report tracking as well. And of course, there is third-party oversight as well. So organization must ensure that these key deliverables are basically followed in the Digital Operational Resilience Act as well. Again, we already covered on shared responsibility. It makes sure that there is clear delineation of security responsibilities. Organizational changes must be basically made accountable, and these organizations must make sure that the data is consistent when it comes to choosing the right cloud provider as well. So then compliance can become not as just a technical tool, rather it basically ensures that organizations are held accountable for the financial data when it comes to moving to the cloud solution. Go to the next slide. How can organizations make sure that the data that is on the cloud is secure? There was a need for a architectural framework that needs to be created. So we came up with a digital finance reference architecture, which is referred to as DFRA model. This is a strategic blueprint, which is basically designed to help or guide financial institutions when they are moving their move to the cloud solution. So again, what does DFRA do? It provides a comprehensive step-by-step framework for building a modern, resilient, and compliant-driven financial system. There are capabilities within DFRA, such as it defines the key core principles for underlying technical components for seamless integrations. So such as with the help of AI and embedded analytics, there are integration capabilities which are deployed within the digital finance reference architecture. There are cloud native principles such as microservices, the use of APIs, and cloud infrastructure for scalability and agility. Again, it provides APIs that provide you real-time visibility of data exchange between one system to another system. From a governance perspective, DFRA offers a robust governance model. It ensures that the regulatory environments, the security standards, and operational resilience is met within the cloud solution as well. So again, there is robust governance, meaning that you are able to see what is happening with your data in real time and what standards or security frameworks have been applied to this data. When it comes to data-driven insight, organizations can now establish data platforms using AI and ML capabilities to unlock actionable intelligence. So there are real-time availability of data insights, such as using the LLM models or AI-driven embedded analytics that allow organizations to get the data insights in real time. So again, DFRA is just not a framework. It is basically a blueprint that will ensure that organizations follow the business strategy with technological execution, but also making sure that the financial innovation is also kept in manner and it is a fast-driven approach as well. So these are some factors that we have put in digital finance reference architecture as a framework for the future. Go to the next slide. On this slide, we are covering why DFRA is essential for cloud transformation programs. So again, there is a clear requirement for a strategic roadmap. DFRA provides a structured blueprint aligning cloud initiatives with overreaching business goals. So again, you need a framework, not just from a technical standpoint of view, you need a framework that can align your business strategy into the technical architecture as well. So it gives you that roadmap view that organizations can implement now. It also ensured regulatory compliance, as we already saw on the previous slide. It basically makes sure that the governance model are robust and all your data is compliant now. So you are able to basically put certain framework controls on your data when it comes to moving to the cloud solution. Of course, there is innovation. As we said, DFRA is basically embedded with AI and analytical tools now. You can have faster visibility or faster development processes when it comes to data-driven architecture as well in the new financial world. There is also enhanced operational resilience. Basically, DFRA promotes resilient and secure and efficient cloud environment, which is crucial for continuous and reliable financial operations. So basically meaning that you have a secure landscape, not just from a financial integrity point of view, but also your cloud environment is basically built with such a secure resilient that you can make sure that your data is secured and following the resilience as well. So again, we are emphasizing that DFRA is just not a technical guide. Organizations now need a framework that can be embedded within their technical architecture to make sure that the business strategy is also kept in mind rather than from a technical standpoint as well. Go to the next slide. On this slide, we are trying to portray basically how can we build a compliant solution in the cloud architecture. So there are different phases organizations can follow. There are different models of cloud, such as SaaS, which is software as service. That is the first basically cloud strategy or focus that organizations can choose. Then it's platform as a service, which is referred to as PaaS, and then it's infrastructure as a service, which is IaaS basically. All these models of cloud allow organizations to basically structure their cloud implementations in multiple phases. We basically divide these phases into design phase, where you have a compliance as a code template available for you already. The security pattern is already kept into mind, and then the privacy related factors are kept into structure as well. In the build phase, we are looking at AI embedded analytics as well, where basically automated tools are embedded into the solution, whichever more cloud model we go for. And of course, there are analysis of your data available from a compliant point of view. So you have real-time visibility of how your data is handled in the cloud platform. In the deploy phase, we will focus on some technical or some basically security details, such as basically identity verification and how the approval process, such as workflow, can be driven in the cloud platform. So again, in the deploy phase, which we refer to as realization phase, you are able to going to test all your cloud related technology workflows and ensure your data is compliant and the workflows are getting triggered correctly. In the run phase, we will focus on compliance monitoring, such as basically providing audit trails and reporting logging, how organizations can monitor who has used their data in real time. So again, there are certain factors in the run phase that organizations must make sure are compliant when it comes to auditing as well. So go to the next slide. When it comes to compliance control frameworks, on this slide, we are trying to basically portray what are the key controls that organization must deploy. So again, there are access control issues. We need to make sure that the identity and access management is basically the highest priority for any organization when it comes to building a compliant cloud control framework. When it comes to data protection, again, encryption is the core for any organization. We need to ensure the data sits correctly in the cloud platform, and we classify this as a medium cloud-driven control, but it should be make sure that we are compliant with the Regulatory Framework Act as well. When it comes to operational security, we are making sure that the immutable infrastructure can be managed with a controlled manner as well. So this is very high for any organization looking to move it with the cloud platform. In the deploy phase, we will focus on some technical or some basically security details, such as basically identity verification and how the approval process, such as workflow, can be driven in the cloud platform. So again, in the deploy phase, which we refer to as realization phase, you are able to going to test all your cloud related technology workflows and ensure your data is compliant and the workflows are getting triggered correctly. In the run phase, we will focus on some technical or some basically security details, such as basically providing audit trails and reporting logging, how organizations can monitor who has used their data in real time. So again, there are analysis of your data available from a compliant point of view. Change management, yes, there is always resistance from an organizational point of view when it comes to change management. Organizations must now ensure when they move to the cloud, they have the right change management tools deployed, and the policy checkpoints are also embedded within the cloud framework as well. So organization must treat this as a very high factor when it comes to moving to the cloud solution. When it comes to incident management or error reporting, yes, there is automation now. You can detect the errors automatically with AI-driven algorithms or LLM models, but organizations must ensure that the incident response is very high, highly treated when it comes to in the cloud platform. So there must be a control framework that must be deployed when it comes to incident response. Of course, resilience, as we said, there are multi-region deployment available now. They should be making sure that the organizations can allow the incident tracking in the cloud when it comes to deploying the cloud solutions. And of course, as it based in cloud, you must make sure that there is a backup available for your cloud platform or cloud solution as well. So these are some compliance driven framework controls that organization must deploy now when it comes to moving to the cloud platform. Go to the next slide. Shri, I hope I'm keeping the time. Yeah.
Yeah, so yes, Rahul, it's now close to 30 minutes from
Yes.
what we started.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I just want to focus on one of the key takeaways now. There are key takeaways for this, such as architecture first. We need to make sure that the cloud native principles enable agility and compliance. There should be shift left on compliance, meaning that compliance should come first into the design pattern when it comes to building the cloud strategy. Of course, people and process. So we require cultural change. There is change management with the use of new operating model. So technology alone is not just sufficient. We must ensure that people and processes are also kept in mind. So again, your cloud journey should be unique, and there is no one size that fits all organization. So with this, I will now pass the floor to Srinivas for his presentation, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. Really enjoyed. So let me start sharing my screen.
You, Sri.
Okay. Hope you all see my screen. Okay. So Rahul, the perspective which has given like all the frameworks are awesome. So at the same time, I want to show this enterprise architecture and the customer experience in the different lens, how it values to the business, how we can drive the business value and align with the outcomes of the business in the long-term goal. So this lens talks about what is the enterprise strategy outcomes. So first of all, anything, sure, whatever decision you make in implementation, it has to align with the business value and what the company model is, how we are doing that, and also make sure that we keep in mind every touch point of the customer experience, how the customers are interacting with the site in a different touch points, right from beginning from the sales to the service and maintenance and resell upsell. In whole this cycle we have to make sure this is driven correctly. At the same time, even evidence driven governance, the I want to show like moving beyond the architecture, how these business makes business value more useful and regulatory confidence. Let me go to the next slide. So reframing this triad, how we can scale, for example, the payment service level objectives. Every day it's not the same way. We have to scale based on the users and if there is a high volume of the payments in certain number of the certain seasons, we have to able to address at the same time transaction throughput. So if there are a lot of transactions coming at the same time, how we have to handle those. Peak load handling is one of that, which helps us to scale on the sky on the fly, instead of like doing and waiting for the long time to get that. Maintaining the compliance, which Rahul has spoken a lot, but I want to give you like how important it is compliance in the coming to the evidence quality, how the audit readiness is important. And the next one is agility, the feature velocity. how much time you are spending for going to the market. Is it like, are you maintaining all the things which, instead of thinking like, okay, going to market as a key objective, losing all the customer experience and not building the things what customer need, instead of thinking from the business and from the company perspective, not thinking from the customer perspective, is one of the big mistake what companies usually do. And innovation capacity, always have innovation in mind. If you are just sticking to what currently you have, you will be outdated in few weeks or few months and a year or so. So always have the innovation in place, from technical capabilities to measurable business outcomes. So that's how we understand and track these changes. Okay, so let's go a little bit more into the enterprise value and customer experience outcome. Um, so CX North Star metrics, authentication success rate. So someone logging into the system, it's very important to make sure that we have properly authorized, they are have proper access. So whatever access we provide to the customers or any personas within the company, they should have the access what they intended to. There is no more access like more than what they intended to. So that is key factor to build the trust and directly impacts revenue and customer trust. Fraud loss. So if you see the percentage of total payment volume, right? So something going in the wrong direction, you are paying in lot in the penalties, which we can totally avoid if we follow the best practices from the enterprise architecture side and knowing more about the business and understanding those business priorities. Similarly, dispute cycle time. So when someone is raising the case, make sure you have all the uh, tools and different capabilities in place. So target less than 3 days. If you are if you are making these dispute cycle more longer, you are losing the trust. So making this very less keeps your customer services satisfaction score and go up, and you will also see you are always in compliant with the regulatory standards. Time to cash, same day settlement, working capital, and client satisfaction. As I said, like customer satisfaction and NPS score. So make sure you have this customer in mind, so that not just try to do what you are saying, focus on the products. Instead of that, focus on the customer. It should be driven from the customer centric perspective. That way, you have high chances of increasing the net promoter score, uh, and the retention and the advocacy. Okay, let me go to the next slide and see the real-time finance and real results. So if you see the scenario, let's take a scenario, instant payment volume spikes 400% during Black Friday. So with the previous traditional approach, when we are doing all this manually, so you have to do that in advance capacity planning and fix the infrastructure, degrade the services. So you have to advance plan in advance and make sure sometimes you have to purchase more to address these spikes. But during in the non-seasons, where during the regular time, you don't need that much infrastructure. So with the cloud native approach, what you can do is you can have the business level, service level objectives drives auto scaling. During the peak time, you can auto scale and make sure your authentication success remains in the 99%. Similarly, the settlement time within 30 seconds. And you can also provide this additional capacity during the peak time. So it's always important to keep the system up above 99.99% close to 100%, which will build the trust. And fraud and risk as customer experience. So if we take the customer experience from the fraud and risk, so event signals. So when a customer is doing a transaction, so we have to keep in mind if the right person is using that, if the right person is doing the transaction, understand the behavior. If someone is doing there is any detection or anything in any signs of these wrong anomalies, make sure you immediately do send the communication to the customer. Are you the right person doing this transaction? And immediate, if you see any anomalies, immediately block the card, or stop the transaction, and do the double verification before processing that request successfully. When these small things will, when you are engaging with the customer during the real time transactions, improves the trust and confidence to the customer. Similarly, model decision. So decisions, how these models help us in identifying these anomalies. So if you see, when it understands the pattern and analyzes the previous historical data, and it identifies and it marks the risk score. That way it recommends the action, and even when customer is on call with the service representative, it can recommend the best action based on the customer risk score, and also provide them the next best actions. Similarly, human in the loop. High risk cases routed to specialists with context. That means when the models do all the classification based on the previous historical data, it understands, okay, based on the context of the case, to which specialist, which division, and based on the skills and capabilities of the agent, it can route to that specific agent to address that in the less time. So when we follow this, what some of the business outcomes is, so 42% fewer false positives. Instead of sending a wrong blocking card wrongly, or instead of making the transactions fail, even when genuine customers are doing. So we can do that false positive, and 27% reduction in abandonment, and we can lower the operational cost and increase the fraud detection. And so we have spoken about fraud detection and how we can do that. And now let's talk about more from the personalization with guardrail, delivering the next best actions. So taking the consent management. When we don't want to send everything, a lot of generic content to the customers. Suppose a customer is looking for a product which is specific to their child education, and they are looking for the personal loan or education loan for the student, which banks can provide. When they are looking for that, when they are browsing, don't send all the home loan, mortgage loan on and different checking accounts, savings accounts information to the customer. Make sure to send the relevant information, so that they can act immediately and get start and provide the value to that. So you can make, by using these all these new AI stuff and all, you can make it more personalized, and send only the relevant information. At the same time, data minimization. Feature stores provide only necessary attributes. Don't try to bring something which is not required in the system. If it is not required, keep it offline and only have the important information. And the regional boundaries, geofence data it's very important. And let the customer know there is a transparency, like where your data is storing, which region, whether it is in the European region or US region. uh, it's important for customer to understand based on the regulatory compliance, all those. And immutable audit trail. When when someone want to log in and they want to do only specific tasks, and even if they are doing anything different, immediately make sure that you you rationalize those and make those decisions on the fly instead of waiting after after the fraud is already done. So this audit trail and of the whole makes us to understand how the customer is behaving, how everything is logging between in the systems. And then going to the evidence-driven governance, controls that prove themselves. So how we can do that? So controls as a code to evidence as a code. First of the one of the thing is policy definition, human readable requirements translated to machine enforceable rules. So instead of like the policy definitions must be clearly understandable, and making sure that every customer is aligned with the policies. It's not like someone is uh, s- uh, someone is unable to understand the policies. And the control implementation, automated guardrails embedded in platforms and pipelines, telemetry collections, and attestation generation. So auditable evidence package compiled automatically. So when we follow all these, right? So whenever there are any audits can query compliance evidence on demand rather than through manually sampling. So it will make easy for auditors and also the companies to prove the compliance, regulatory compliance within a short time, so that they don't go back and forth and make the audit fail. And policy decisions, how we can do that, like a points map, right? So where policies are enforced and how the evidence can be collected. So instead of build code quality security scanning, you can do like every decision is logged with context. Similarly, when coming to the policies is enforced, right, you do like a build, deploy, run, recover by doing these deployments in different environments based on the constraints. And when there is proper approvals, then only move that to the next level of environments, and runtime guardrails, and making sure you have a backup and disaster recovery testing. Whenever any disasters happen, you should able to bring up the system within very minimal disruption, making sure that you have a backup and these DR policies in place. Similarly, when we are going to the regulatory change intake, so when we are doing this translation new regulations into the operational controls in weeks, previously it used to be in the quarter in like a long time. So always do work in the cross-functional teams, determine the control requirements, don't work in silos. Make sure that all the teams are working together for the main goal, towards the company goal. Individually, if you are working in a different teams and if your objectives are different, you will be failing. And policy creation, so machine readable policies with clear ownership. Control and test design, automated controls with validation criteria. With if you can automate these testings and cover all the scenarios, that will be really helpful to improve the process. Dashboard creation, real-time compliance visibility. So if you have the dashboard across, if you are maintaining the multiple systems, you bring the dashboards from the different systems and see who are logging, who is having the proper multi-factor authentication, whether someone is logging from different VPN. So you have the clear visibility of all these things and take action immediately. So there is one of the case study in the UK where the banking changes implemented in 3 weeks versus industry average of 14 weeks. So considering all these enterprise level best practices and and considering these customer experience, customer centric approaches. Okay, and zero trust. Zero trust is really important. So always make sure you are identified. It's not like first time you authenticated doesn't mean that you are safe. Make sure you make that authentication and authorization every time and with the level of requiredness and least privilege. Always focus on giving the minimal access and for the task completion and what is required for that. And temporary elevation without giving lot of access and giving continuous access forever. Always give access for the specific period so that they can access and immediately the access can be revoked. And also give the access specific to the segment so that they don't have access to the different even the employees working in the company, they should have the access to the region what they are supposed to be. They should not have access beyond that. And also it should be based on the work they are aligned with. Okay, so we have spoken about data, spoken about the regulations and some of how we can align in the customer experience to the business value. Let's talk about the data and the AI strategy. So, so data strategy is really important where we are storing, whether it is in the particular jurisdiction or not. Keep the boundaries and uh, and you have a clear understanding of the data lineage, automatic tracking of data from origin to consumption. When you have like a different maintain data at the different domains, and if you are maintaining the data, see like if you are doing that PII information data masked and don't uh, and even if someone asks for the GDPR or CCPA request fulfilled within 24 hours. Previously, it used to take 7 to 10 days for these requests. So customers have a right to request their data, and if they request to delete the data or remove any PII information from the systems, companies have to respond immediately within the defined time. So that way, with this automation, you can build the new tools using this cloud architecture and cloud native solutions. You can build those and achieve these goals within the defined framework and integrate with multiple different systems. And AI assurance. So with AI lot growing rapidly, and every day we are seeing new models coming up. At the same time, there is also a risk at the same time coming up. So rigorous model risk management is important. For example, clearly define what is the use case which you want to build and uh, make sure you validate that before deployment across diverse scenarios. And have that only specific to the one unit and do the pilot testing and then move across different diverse scenarios and continuously monitor for the model inputs, outputs, and performance. Similarly, don't trust whatever directly AI is giving. Always make sure the human is involved. Make sure that strategic intervention points of expert review is available and immutable decision logs. These are the key things you have to always focus on whenever you are implementing an AI and the cloud native architectures. AI for compliance. And so this is how you can detect and analyze and route to the human AI specialist for the decision support. So I would like to take a quick pause to check for the time. So Rahul, how we are doing? Let me quickly check.
We are good. I think we can take. Yeah, you have
Yeah.
time.
Um, so before going to that next slide, I want to focus on the human specialist decision support. So whenever there are some complex scenarios, make sure that that is handed over to the human to review and show the empathy towards the customer. Someone is Not everything is solved by AI and virtual assistants. So make sure that human specialists are involved and have the empathy. So I would say don't go in a different things and try to build everything on everything and achieve everything within a short time. Have a proper plan, strategic plan. I'm giving here 90-day action plan where you can identify the flow, like select some business process and which will align with your long-term company vision and see, uh, for example, chargeback handling for initial implementation. And for that business process, you define the service level objectives about the flow, performance, and check. And make sure that for the evidence pipeline, right, wire in automated evidence collection and immutable logging for the auditability and pilot AI anomaly checks. So implement AI-driven anomaly detection and to identify deviations from expected behavior. That way you can block immediately the unexpected behavior. Once you have all these in the place, make sure you have the KPIs and other things always published for the real-time visibility. Always revisit what you have built, review those, iterate and improve the process. It's a continuous implemented, and this way, this rapid execution model allows for quick wins and demonstrate the value instead of going with like multiple things at the same times. So this will set a broader adoption instead of leaving the things in the beginning. So recent MIT report says that 95% of AI things pilot cases are failing. The only reason what I am seeing from my perspective is just simply the name of say for the sake of using AI, everyone is jumping into that. Identify the use case which mainly involves when you are building that, see how it aligns to your business value and use the case which solves the business purpose. Don't go by, okay, this is easy, I will do that. See how identify your data, analyze your data. What are the most frequently calls customer service agents are handling? Is it a billing questions or is it a some other service issues? Identify those scenarios, bring that scenario and include that in your plan and iterate and expand to the next scenarios. So here is the key takeaways I want to share. Balance the trade, align the speed with risk and the cost with measurable outcomes and service level objectives. Whenever whenever you are doing these things, don't think like, okay, the KPI should be defined later in the point. Always define the KPIs in advance and observable governance. Transform compliance into evidence for the real-time visibility so that you take action through the dashboard visibilities. Productize controls. Treat products and controls as products with a customer-centric mindset. Don't think like, okay, I want to build the product and multiple products and market those and campaign and make customers forced to use that. Understand the need of the customer and build the products which will fulfill their needs. That way you frame the products of your financial products keeping the customer in mind. That way you have a successful achievements and improve the company value and the broader and the long term successfully. So this is the 90-day plan and the key takeaways, and that's all I have. Thank you, everyone. And feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions, or you can also reach out to us on LinkedIn and IEEE. Rahul, anything you want to project for the final conclusion?
No, Sri, thank you. That was very great insights. And I think, again, thank you for joining me in this webinar. I think one thing I would want to call out is that moving to cloud requires us not just a technical decision, it's a strategic decision for organizations. Technology is a driver, but we make sure that we have strategic business decisions also embedded into that technological decision as well. So thank you. I really appreciate your insights today, Sri. And with this, we will close the event. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.